Let's talk about a tool you probably use every day, Microsoft Excel. Today, we're going to unlock its hidden power and build a financial toolkit that'll turn a simple spreadsheet into a seriously powerful business asset.
So, you might think of Excel for, grocery lists or keeping track of your to-dos. And for a lot of people, that's kind of where it stops. But honestly, that's barely scratching the surface of what this thing can really do.
The truth is, it's the hidden engine that drives critical financial decisions in businesses of all shapes and sizes, from tiny startups all the way up to huge corporations. So let's get our hands dirty. In the next few minutes, we're going to build your financial toolkit. We'll walk through 4 essential functions that can turn a totally blank sheet into some incredibly powerful business insights.
Okay, here's the game plan. First, we're going to demystify loans and leases. Then we'll run a quick health checkup on a business. After that, we'll get into automating complex payroll. And finally, we'll look at how to make decisions that are future-proof.
All right, tool number 1. Let's dive right in and tackle one of the most common financial challenges for pretty much any business, managing debt, whether it's from loans or leases.
The secret weapon here is a super powerful built-in formula called the PMT function. And yeah, PMT just stands for payment. Now, don't let the formula scare you. What's so cool about this is that with this single line, you just plug in the interest rate, the number of payments, and how much the loan is for. And Excel does all the heavy lifting for you. And just like that, bam! Excel spits out the exact quarterly payment for this 100,000 rupee loan. No calculators, no guesswork, just an instant accurate answer. Okay, but wait, it gets even better. This is where the real magic happens. You can take that one little formula and stretch it out to automatically create a full-blown repayment schedule, tracking every single payment over the entire life of the loan. Okay, so we've handled a single debt. Now let's zoom out a bit. Our second tool is all about diagnosing the financial health of the entire business. I want you to think of this like a doctor's visit for your company. And these 2 documents right here, the profit and loss statement and the balance sheet, well, they're basically the patient's medical charts. So how do we do a quick checkup? We use something called ratio analysis. Let's take the current ratio, for example. It's a super simple calculation that basically asks, can the company pay its short-term bills? The ones that are due soon. So for this company, the result is 4.56. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, a healthy number is usually somewhere around 2 to 1. So at over 4.5, this company is more than double that. That's a fantastic sign of really strong short-term financial health. All right, let's move on to tool number 3. And this one tackles what can be a huge headache for any business, payroll. Yeah, payroll is just a giant puzzle, right? You've got all these complex rules, different pay grades, a bunch of allowances, and all these specific tax deductions that change depending on who the employee is. It can get messy and fast. So instead of driving yourself crazy doing this by hand for every single person, we use an amazing function called VLOOKUP. You can basically just tell Excel, hey, for this employee, go look up their details in this table and pull back the right info. It does it all for you, automatically. And here is the beautiful result, a totally automated payroll statement. Every single calculation, from their gross pay all the way down to their take-home salary, is done instantly and, more importantly, accurately. Think of the time and the mistakes that saves. Okay, for our last tool, we're going to switch gears from looking at what's happening now to seeing into the future. This is all about using Excel to make really smart, strategic decisions. So a classic scenario here is something called capital budgeting. Let's say a company has to choose between 2 massive projects. They both have different costs, and they're projected to bring in different amounts of cash over time. So how on earth do you choose the right one? Well, this is where Excel shines. Using 2 really important formulas, IRR, the internal rate of return, and NPV, net present value, we can analyze which project is actually more profitable in the long run. And in this case, Project A is the clear winner. It has a higher rate of return, and that positive NPV tells us its future earnings are worth more than the initial investment. It's a no-brainer. And this kind of future gazing also helps with managing big assets like equipment or buildings. Excel can easily figure out depreciation, that's just the fancy word for how an asset loses value over time, and it can compare different ways of calculating it, like the steady, straight line method versus the faster diminishing balance method.
And just like that, your financial toolkit is ready to go. We've covered mastering debt with the PMT function,
checking your business's health with ratio analysis, automating that messy payroll with VLOOKUP, and making future-proof decisions with capital budgeting and depreciation.
Look, the big takeaway here isn't just about learning formulas. It's about empowering yourself. Mastering these techniques means you can make smarter, faster, and more confident decisions that are actually backed by data. So, there you have it. We've built the toolkit. It's in your hands now. The only question left is, what problem are you going to solve first?